All right, so let's get this started. So it's been a while since I've been able to live code. Trying out this new microphone setup. Let me know if there's a problem or if it's too quiet or anything like that. There might be a lot of echo because I'm in pretty much a wall of mirrors that just bounce sound around. So if it gets to be too bad, let me know. So anyway, it's been a while. Was doing that ADT thing with that random card generator, and one of the things about that is I wanted it to show kind of a practical example of how to use ADTs. So it wasn't very practical because it didn't really fit in with well, I mean, it was going to work with Hyper App and things like that and have a front end and whatnot. But it was building the back end first. And a lot of times you build from the front end first. So what I want to do is we're kind of going to do the same sort of thing, except we're just going to build this to-do list, but we're going to make kind of a to-do list plus or something along those lines. So that way we can see what it's like to interact with this as we are working in a, building the front end first and then doing all of our ADT work and all that on the state. And I don't know, it should be fun. We'll first start off by building out the simple to-do, and then we'll start adding features and things like that. But mostly, it's going to show us how to set up Redux to where you can use it with the state monad. We'll make our own little combine reducers and things like that. But first, we need to get some stuff started. So let's jump into here. I'm going to clone this down. This is just a front-end library that we're going to be using. And we will do one of these, git clone, and we are going to clone in this, and we will call it to-do plus. All right, now let's jump into do plus, and we will vim, and then over here, just do a yarn install, get that going, and we need to set this up. Oops, sorry. I need to be in the proper folder. So that was going to be to do plus. Oh, come on. And here we'll do yarn install. And that should be getting everything installed, but you'll see we don't really have React or anything brought in yet. We need to bring that stuff in. So here in a moment, we'll actually go through and build all of that stuff out. Or install it, I should say. So we need React, so let's do a yarn add, and we'll do React and React DOM, and we want prop types. And I think we'll add that stuff for now. And then we need to add some plugins and things like that for like our Eslint and things along those lines. So this is plugin React. So let's do yarn add plugin, Eslint plugin React. And yeah. Okay, give me a moment. We got that in. What was the other thing we want? We need to do our JSX. So we're just going to use the preset. So we'll do yarn add, and we'll do preset, or no, what is it? Babel preset React. Is that what it is? Babel preset React. All right, so we'll add that in. Excuse me. Now all we need to do is get this stuff going. So let's jump into our Eslint. This is the worst one. We need this to be an array, and we will delete to this, paste that there, do some of this. And here we'll do plugin React recommended. All right, and then here we need to do ECMA And, ooh, what is this? ECMA options? What is that? I always forget. It is ECMA features. Okay, so then we do features. And that, of course, is going to be JSX true. Right? It's a good thing they have these because I would never be able to memorize this. And then we need to do plugins React. Plugins, and here we'll put in an array and we'll do React, which will add that. Don't forget to add the comma. And that is all we need for Eslint. So we should be good there. Then for Webpack, all we need to do is jump down here into common. And we have JSX. So we're already set up for the JSX. And then we need to just do React. Okay. So now I think we should be good. So let's yarn start and get this party started, I guess. I don't think we need these anymore. So let's go to our localhost leet 1337. And we have hello simply evil, so we know it's working. Now let's just see if our JSX and all that works. So we will do import React from, and this will come from React. And we want to take in render from React DOM. And we don't need this heading, we don't need that, we don't need any of this, so we'll just delete to there. And what's the next thing we need to do? The next thing we need to do is call render. Oops. We'll call render, and let's just do in h1, and this will be hello, just a simple hello. Actually, let's do hello friend, because it's always nice to have friends. Aw. And this will be app ELL, and we can get rid of all of that junk. Now let's see if this compiles. All right, seems like it compiled. We got hello friend. So we have that. All right, cool. So we got React and everything hooked up. Let's go ahead and build out this front end before we hook up Redux and all that, just so we kind of have an idea what's going on. So we will add a folder components. Is that how you spell that? I think that's what I'm going to go with. Anyone? I think that's components. I am the worst speller. Yeah. All right, and we will do our app.jsx. I like using the JSX stuff sometimes. Sometimes I'll use it, sometimes I won't. It all just depends. All right, so here we are going to build out our app. So what we really need is just this. Oh, come on, copy and then jump over here. Thank you. Okay, and now that we have React, let's build our app. So we'll do const and let's just get some state in there. So we will do this and let's just call it data. We don't have enough data. And here we're just going to do, make sure we have this hooked up. We'll do that with a data.title. And here we will do h1. And let's do in export default. And we will do app. Now I am worried because this should have told me something about prop types. I wonder what's going on there. All right, so here, instead of doing that hello friend, we'll just do const data is equal to, and then we'll do title. And here we'll put hello my friend, just so we know that there's a difference. And let's do import app from, and we'll do components. Hey, How's it going, everyone? Oh, Ed, hey. How's it going, Nordman? That's really awesome. Good to see you. This is going to be, what is this going to be? Components. Oh, see, I can never spell it. So we will let components that handle it for me. And this will be app.jsx. All right, now we can close that, give that a save. It's probably going to give me an error. Oh, it didn't. That's adorable. Yeah, see, something is wrong with my linter. Something is wrong with my linter. This should have been called out. So give me a second here. We'll put app in, and then we'll see what's going on with the linter. Goodness gracious, how embarrassing is that? And then we'll make data equal data. And we need to have one of these. Yeah, see, this linter isn't working at all. All right, so we have hello, my friend. Pretty good. Saw your streaming. Thought I'd check it out. Well, thanks for coming. This is the boring setup stuff. The fun stuff won't happen till later. So let's see what's going on with the linter. This is rather embarrassing, if I do say so myself. So let's open this in a new tab. Plugin React recommended. Plugins is React. ECMA features JSX true. I mean, that looks right, but nothing is, const nice is equal to 0. See, so that should have been picked up by my linter. Goodness gracious, what's going on here? Oops. Interesting. All right, so let's see what's going on. So we have plugins, that goes to React. This has, see, that looks all right. Goodness gracious. Is it plugins? Bilbo plugins, maybe? I don't think it is plugins, but let's see. React. It's a good one. What is it? React plugin. Eslint. No, it was there. No, it is just plugin React recommended. We have that. We have that. Plugins is React. Oh, that's the problem. How embarrassing. All right. So now everything should work, and we should be getting stuff saying, all right, let's reload this. Still not getting the prop type thing. You would expect the prop type error. Let's just see. Why aren't we getting the prop types here? All right, let's see if this is doing this. X is equal to 30. And that should be throwing me an error. Goodness gracious. Really, this whole time, and the problem is my linter. Okay. Well, let's see what else it could be. It's probably something else in this file. All right, so plugins are fine. That is fine. My goodness gracious. Shouldn't matter, but... So we have our extends, that's in there, recommended. This is just plugin, right? Just plugin. Yep, React recommended. Do we have that installed? Did I not install it, maybe? We have our Eslint, and where is it? Oh, I should have installed that as a... All right. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, so that is in there. Huh. Oh, this is not how I wanted this to go down. Recommended. Is that spelled right? JSX is true. I wish it would give me an error as to what was going on with the linter. Okay, so this all looks fine. All right. Let's just do one of these. Okay, and then we'll jump here. There we go. Just needed to reload apparently. Okay, there we go. So now we do import prop types. How embarrassing. And from, and this will be prop types. Oh, goodness gracious. And here we just do app.proptypes is equal to, and this will be a shape, maybe? Let's see, what is this? This will be data.shape, and here we will do a shape of title, and title will be a prop type string. Okay, and prop types.shape, right? Okay. All right, so we should have that, and let's see, hopefully there's no errors or anything. I don't think there will be. So now let's go ahead and make sure the prop types are actually working. So we'll just do one of these and GC that, df this, and we'll do 50 or just 5 with no trailing space. Okay, so yep. All right, prop types are working. Beautiful. Sometimes you just got to check. All right, and now we're all good. So we are good there. Okay, so now we have the beginning of our app. One thing we want to do is be able to bring our to-dos in. So let's change this to to-dos, and we will have to-dos be an array of something that is just title. And we'll say hug a unicorn. Okay, so we have hug a unicorn, and then we'll also do a mess with Texas, and here we'll do a do laundry. All right, so we'll do laundry, we'll see about messing with Texas, and of course we're gonna check with that to do laundry, because laundry is very important to do. You have to have clean clothes so you can have a clean frame of mind while you're building all of this stuff out. Okay, so now we want to make this, I don't like doing the shape kind of here. So let's do one of these. We'll do a main. And don't worry, we'll get back to the validation and put that all proper and things like that here in a moment. Here we're going to get data, pull to-dos off of it, and then here we will do a UL, and we'll do a class name of to-dos, and let's close this out. And here we'll do data.todos.map, and what are we going to do here? We're going to take a to-do, and we are going to take the index because we need a key for it. Eventually we will provide our own, how would you say? We'll provide our own IDs and things like that, but there's no reason to get all crazy with that stuff right now. So here we'll just take our to-dos, we'll map over it. Why is that giving me grief? I wish that wouldn't give me grief. So let's see what happens here. Here we'll just do an li, and we'll do a class name of we'll call this to do. And what else do we want to do here? So we'll do this, and we will do this with a to do dot title. Okay, so that's really cool. And here we will do an li. And the other thing we need is a key. So what do we do about that key? We'll do key is equal to index. All right, so what is going on here? There's a silly little goose. I can't believe how silly I am. Okay, so this needs to actually be surrounded by this, and put that there. Okay, so now that should be good. We have everything there, and now we have our LIs. All right, so we have our to do, hug a unicorn, mess with Texas, do laundry. No big whoop, just the simple stuff that we do. Okay, so now we have our to-dos. We have that. We need a form to enter new ones of these, but let's not do that yet. Actually, let's get our prop types. So that shape isn't coming in because we don't have the required. So here we're just going to do data. Yeah, no, we want the shape. And then here we're going to do to-dos. And we're not going to break down like do an array of or things like that. I don't like doing that at this top level. I like doing it at the level where we care about that. Like when we do the to-do, we'll look at it there, like the actual to-do itself. So I don't really do the array of and then put in a shape and things like that. Let's see here. So we'll do to-dos, which is a prop types dot array. And let's just call this required. Okay. And I think we're good there. Righty. So now, okay. So now let's move this into, we'll come back to that data later, but now that we're in the component level, we'll call this to-do list.jsx. Boom. And we'll do here, we need to bring pretty much all of this stuff. Might as well just copy it in. Very boilerplatey, this stuff. We'll go back and maybe use some patterns or something to take it off, but yeah, this is the boring stuff. Soon we'll get to the fun data stuff. All right, so here we are in to-do list. So we just need to get rid of that and that. We'll do some of this, bring that back. And here, this is actually going to be a to-do. So the only thing we really need to put in there, we'll just do this, same thing here, to-do list. And then to-do list isn't going to take in data, but it's going to actually take in the to-dos. So we'll bring in the to-dos, and then down here, this is where we do our type, to-dos. And we'll take a shape. What do we want it to be? We want it to be pretty much an array. That's it. So we'll just delete to here and okay. All right, and then this just becomes to-do list. Okay. And then, oops, goodness gracious. All right, that just becomes to-do list. We don't need data anymore. We just have these. And now that we have those to-dos, we really can break this out to actually be a to-do. So let's do that. First thing we need to do is get rid of this. And, oh no, oh, there we go. Okay, so now the next thing we need to do is bring this in. So we'll do import And we'll call this to-do list from, and we'll do to-do list .jsx. So now we can bring this in and this, and we just do to-do list and to-dos is equal to data.todos. Okay. So now we have that first bit and everything is good. Let's give it a refresh. We're still getting that built out, but we get it built out from over here. And since we're in here, let's call this to-do list. Okay. And then just to make sure we're getting it, we'll notice that our class name is changed to to-do list. So that's pretty great. All right, now we need to deal with this to-do. So let's, without further to-do, let's add a to-do, let's add a to-do not list. And we'll just call it to-do.jsx. And we will open that here. Actually, let's close this out. Let's close that out. And we will do to-do and to-do list. Okay, so we pretty much are just going to do the same thing we did last time, all kinds of boilerplate, except now we'll just go back here, get rid of that, get rid of this, and this is where we'll actually break out what makes up a to-do, right? So here we'll have title, and we're not going to say it's required, but we will say it is a string when it is provided. To-dos are not a thing that we're going to be dealing with, so here we just do title, and title. This is really just going to be in li with a class name of to-do. We don't really need to put the key here because we'll get that on the actual component. So what should we do here? What should we do? What should we do here? We don't want to do that, that's for sure. And here we want to put the title. Okay. Why is this being so silly right here? Prop types. Oh, because we need to finish this out with an li. There we go. So now we have title. Title goes there. And here we can do import to do from to do. Oh, this should be capital T. And now we just do to-dos map. We'll still get that key, but this will become to-do. We have the key, don't need to do the class name, but here we'll just do title is equal to title. To-do title. And really, maybe that should come in as to-do, but whatever. Dot title. We'll see how this plays out once we start adding more attributes to it. All right, so now all we really need to do is just close this out. And I believe that should work. Maybe? Let's give this a save now that that's saved. Can't resolve. YouTube to-do plus source components. Which one? To-do list. To-do from to-do. Oh, .jsx. Sorry about that. All right. So now we have everything. We have our to-do. We have all of that. Okay, so let's add another thing here. We are going to Let's see about adding, what's a fun thing to add? We will add the completed. So when something's completed, hold on, let me shut this door. Looks like a kitten's over there. Alrighty. Sorry about that. Okay. So now what we have here is we have our to-dos. We have this. This is going to bring out a to-do. We still have it. Let's add a completed. Okay. So we will have something that's completed. And this will be a prop type bool. Okay, so now let's bring in a little something. Let's bring in a little something. So we'll do yarn add class names. Class name? I think it's class name. Hold on. Let me just verify that. Oh, it might be class names. It is class names. All right, so we'll do yarn add or yarn remove. Class name and yarn add class or yarn add class names. Yarn add class names. Okay. All right, so we're gonna have this little completed bit. We'll do all of that. So I hate to do this, but now what we're going to do is, because I'm going to make this kind of imperative, we're going to call this to do. And here, I mean, we're still going to do all of this, so we'll just VF to here, cut that out, cut it out. And we're pretty much going to do the same thing here. So we will return this whole mess. Okay, actually I want to just do a normal V and come here and give this what I like to call a paste. Okay, and that still should work. Let's see if that still works. Oh, goodness gracious, did something go to heck? Yeah, you didn't even start it, you silly. All right, so let's give this what I like to call a start. Come on, sunshine. There we go. Site can't be reached. You make me so sad. All right. So now we have it. Everything's being built out. Now, let's add a little something here. We'll do const classes is equal to class name. And we will do that as import. Class names as from class names. Okay. And here we will do, what's the best thing to do? We'll say to do. And here we'll have an object and we will do to do completed. And this will be completed. Okay, so now we just do some of this, df that, and we do classes. Okay, so now we have our classes that come in, and if something is completed, it would add that. So let's go ahead and jump back in the data, and we will add to index. We'll just come in here and we'll say that the laundry is done. So we'll just do completed and we'll say true. All right, so everything is completed. And if we look, it didn't do anything. My goodness, why didn't it do anything? Completed. Oh, I know why it didn't do anything, because we're not passing it along. See, I don't like this. We might be changing that to be something like record. Right now, we'll just keep it this way, and we'll adjust it later. Okay, so now we have to do completed. Should we do that, or should we do to do? I might like this, especially if we're going to be in there. Yeah, so let's do that. We are going to do this, and then this to do. So that's to-dos. This will actually be to-do. And we will do to-do is equal to prop types shape. And this will have a shape of all of this delicious stuff. Okay, and that'll have completed and all of that. So now we could just come in and do const, and we'll say title and completed, and that comes in off of to do. So here we'll df this and put in to do, but that needs to be, yep, there we go. Okay, so now we have everything we need, and Bob's your uncle. But it looks like we have what I like to call errors. Do we really have errors? No, it just had trouble reloading. Okay, so now we have our to-do completed. So that's pretty cool. Everyone loves that. We have our to-dos. Are we having any? Nope. So our data types are all samesies. Okay, so now let's add some stuff to this. We will add a little bit of less, so let's add a components. And here we will do app dot less. And let's add another one, and we'll call this all dot less. And inside of all.less, we will import, and actually, let's just go to another all here. And we'll do that with that. And this will be app. And we want one for to do. And let's just call this, yeah, we'll just call that to do. Why not? All right, eventually we'll do something. Oh, goodness gracious. What happened here? Did I mess something up? Yep, I sure did. All right. So that should be fine. All right, so this will bring that and to do in. And here we will just jump into our main and we'll import components.all. Okay, now this should throw an error because it can't find to do, but it should have app. So now let's just add to do, and we'll do to do.less, boom, shakalaka. And what are we gonna do here? We're gonna do to do, and goodness gracious, let's do spacing, and we'll do 1 rem on the vertical and 1.5 rem on the horizontal. And what else do we want? We want this to be completed to use strike through, right? So we do this with completed and completed, right? I don't know. And this will be text. What is it? Text decoration? I know they have it in here. What are they doing? Text, boom, boom, boom. what is it? Decoration. All right, so we'll do text decoration, and that will be strike through, line through, line through, right? Okay, so that should be good there. And that should be good there, except this needs to bring in to do as well. We'll do something with app eventually, I'm sure. All right, so now let's take a look at this, and we have our strike through. So cool. Now we have a way of responding to that Boolean, and I believe we have our spacing. Let's add something to app here. So let's jump into these components, and we'll go into app. We don't really need this open anymore, or even this. Heck, we don't even need that open because it's already going to be brought in. So here, let's do class. Class name is equal to, we'll call this app. I know we have that ID of app, but that's an ID. This is the actual class. Bada boop, 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 ba-doop, ba-doop, boop. So what do we do now? We go into app here, and let's do app. And let's do max width, max width. Let's make it 10, 102.4 rem. Let's make it 80 rem for now. And then let's do margin, and we'll do 0 auto. All right, let's see what that gets us. It gets us absolutely nothing. Why did that get us absolutely nothing? Oh, because of that. Okay, so we don't really need that. That's a little big. That's a little too big, I believe. Is it though? All right, so one thing we need to do is go back into to-do. And where is to-do? To-do is here. So we want to do spacing, and we want to do, what is it? Style, list style? List style is none. Okay, that gets rid of that. All right, what else do we need to do? We have that, we have that. That looks beautiful, sort of. I don't like how big this is. Let's make it 600. So let's make this 60 rem. So replace that with that, and let's see what that does for us. Okay, okay, that's pretty good. All right, so now we also have this to-dos, which we'll also put in here. So what is that? To-do list, I should say. Goodness gracious. But that's okay. We can still base it off of that. Watch, I'll show you. So with to-do list, what if we set up a margin, and we'll set up a margin of top of 1 rem. Okay. That is only for that. And what if we make this 2 rem? Okay. And 2 rem for here. Okay. That looks pretty good. Now, what if we made it padding instead? Padding gets us the same thing, except everything's pushed. All right, I like doing the padding. So now let's go to do list. So we can come into here and we do list. And that gets us spacing of 1 rem and 2 rem. All right, so we should be good and all spaced out there. Holy spaced out, man. Okay, so that should have loaded. And here on to-do list, we notice we have our 2 rem or 20 here on the side, and we have our 1 at the top, plus we have the 1. So that's pretty cool. What time is it? It's going on 7. This is perfect. Okay, so now the next thing we need to do is set up our form. So I don't know if we should set up the form because I really would rather do the React stuff. And now that we have this completed, we could set something up that would just change the completed on it. I don't think we need to add it. So normally, I guess we would put the form in to add new, but since we have this really simple state, I think now's a good time to set up Redux. So that's what we're going to do, if that's cool with you. That makes sense to do, in my opinion. So now we can set up the on-click. All right. So we're going to need a couple things here. Oh, goodness gracious. There I go, destroying things. Okay. So we have all of that. We're going to need to install some things. So the things that we're going to need to install is we'll do yarn add, and we'll add crocks, which is a ADT library. It's where we're going to get our state monad from. We need to add Redux, right? Redux, and we need to add React Redux for our connect. Okay, so now this is going to get really weird all of a sudden. So what we're going to do is use a state ADT from this crocks library, and that's going to manage all of our state. So what that's going to do is get us to when we're writing our reducers, what we're actually going to be doing is, how would you say, we're only going to be sending it the action. So instead of a binary function, we're going to take a unary function that's just going to be the action. And then we're going to build out how to change our state and then eventually get our state back. So let's get this set up right now. Now, I like to add these to a folder. We have our components in there. We're just going to call this data, okay? And then inside of here, we're going to create reducers. And this is where our root reducer is going to be. And here we'll do index.js. Okay, so did we add that? I think we added that, right? Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, I think we did. Well, it doesn't hurt to add it again. Why not? Okay, so now that we have that, we have our data, we have our reducers, we have all of that. The first thing that we need to do is get a reducer going on our index, right? So we need to create a store, and the first thing we need for that store is a reducer. So let's create our root reducer here, okay? So what we want is something, so let's do const, and we'll call this reducer. Okay, reducer. And what this reducer is going to be is a function that takes the previous state, and after the previous state, it's going to take the actual action. Okay, so now we have a function that's a reducer that's going to take the previous state in action. This is going to be every time that your store changes and all that, this is what gets called. Now, we don't really care about this previous state. I mean, we care about it, don't get me wrong. But what we want to do is call our reducers, right? So say we have some reducers, and we want to call each one of those. So we'll get a function back. We'll call this root, I guess. So we'll call this, well, let's call it reducers, okay? So we have a function that is reducers, and then that's going to take the action. And then we want this function to give us back a state monoid, or a state monad, or a state ADT, and then we want to call execute with, passing in the previous state, okay? So now this will only take this, whatever this reducers is only going to take, how would you say, our function or just our action. And then it's going to call with our action over everything. And it's going to get back a state that it'll eventually run. Okay. So let's see how we can make this reducers thing. Now, one of the cool things, if you look on here, see how we have, when we use, what is it, combine reducers? So when we use combine reducers here in this index, we get this really cool thing where it's going to call that every single time, right? And it's going to call each one of these and then give back the state all namespaced. Well, we don't want this namespacing, but we want the ability to be able to separate out what our actual actions are, our actions and our reducers and things like that. We want to be able to do that, right? So what we need to do is build something that will take an action. Build something that'll take an action and then call a function for us. So let's do this. So let's see what one of these would look like. Okay, so here we have reducers. Let's go ahead and we'll add a todo.js. And this will be a reducer in here. And then let's add data, and we'll call this helpers.js. I like to keep a helpers file. It lets me kind of see, you know, it lets me put all my little helper functions and things like that away. I don't know. It's fun. A neat little thing. A good place to put all your domain-specific stuff. And we actually want this to be export default reducer. Okay. And that'll be our reducers there. Let's do a yarn start. Oops, dart. What is that? So we'll do yarn start. I don't think anything's broken. Yay, nothing's broken yet. But we'll break it very soon, I promise. So what we want to do is have our action creators and things like that here as well. So let's do, what do they call this? They call this toggle. So let's make a const. We'll just match some of the stuff that they do here. All right, so they have toggle to do that does all that. So let us take const toggle to do is equal to, and okay. So we will have that. This will just be our little action name. And then we want to export const, and we'll do toggle to do. And that will be a function that takes a, what should this take? This is going to take an object that is the ID, right? So we want this to be the ID. What is the best way to do that? So we will take a payload. Okay. And from that payload, we will take a type. So let us do a type is equal to toggle to do. And here we'll just do payload. Okay, so now we have an action creator. We could go ahead and make this using like union types, and we'll probably do that later on, especially when we go to optimize some of this. A lot of times it's a lot easier to, do it this way. So now what we need to do is do a toggle, or we need to export default. So let's make our function, we'll call it to do, I guess. Const. So let's export or function to do. And this is just going to take the action, right? So this is going to be just the action. So we'll take the type and we'll take the payload and we'll pull that off of there. And here, let's do a switch case. Again, we'll probably go using these cool things called union types to actually set these up. And we're going to switch on type. That way we can get rid of these and do like a catamorphism and whatnot, right? And then we'll do a case of toggle to do. And that's way we don't have to create strings and stuff like that. So, but I'd rather just focus on getting this set up for now. And then we can deal with that. So here, let's go ahead and return. Right now, we'll bring in import state. So we'll do import state from crocks state. Okay. And then here, we'll just do a state of, and it doesn't really matter. We'll just do a state of null. Because we're running execute with, we're not really running the eval with. So it really doesn't matter what's in the resultant of state. So all we're going to do is just return a state. And cool. So you'll notice we're not setting up a switch case or anything. Actually, heck, it doesn't matter. We'll just put payload in here so we make our bits happy there. So what we want to do is have this reducer, right? So we want to be able to bring in this to do, and notice that we only want to deal with things that return a state because we're expecting a state to be right here, okay? So let's create something called const combine reducer and reducers. And we're going to say that this takes a, goodness gracious, it just takes an array, okay? So what we want to do is whenever we encounter, we'll send something into this reducer. And whenever we encounter something that's golden or awesome, like a state, the first state that we encounter, we are just going to only care about that one, right? But we need a way to decide whether or not this is a state that we care about. So we have a monoid that we can use called first, which can be started or loaded with a maybe, right? So since I can decide what something is, and because it's a monoid, I can actually take a list of these reducers and call them down on it, right? But I need to be able to call things, but I only have an action to call things with. All right. So let's see what this would kind of look like with those. So we'll do an m concat map. This comes in from crocks. So we'll do import, and we'll probably move this out into our helpers, right? It doesn't really matter right now. So we'll take this from crocks, and we will do helpers and m concat map. All right, so this is going to allow us to take values and lift them into a monoid. And the monoid that we want to bring in is first. And first is going to return or always return on a list. It'll always return whatever the first value was. So since this can be constructed by using a maybe, we need a way to, first of all, we need to take our action, right? So this needs to actually take in, first things first, an array, right? It needs to take in an array of reducers because that reducers, or those reducers, are going to be what reducers gets called there. or what we're going to call these on. So for instance, we're going to take this, you know, toggle to do or whatever. We're going to take this to do, which we need to export. So let's do export default. And we will do to do. I want to call this to do's, but we'll leave it to do for now. Who cares? We can go back and rename stuff when the naming is good. So the first thing we want to do, since we're doing this mconcat map, this is going to lift values from an array or from a foldable, and it's going to use that to construct this, calling concat on it each time as we iterate. But we're going to do it on the first. So what we need to do is return the first state that we get, right? But, so let's do that. Import safe, and we'll get safe from crocks, maybe safe, okay? And that's going to pull safe off of it. So that'll be pretty cool, right? That'll take safe. That's going to take safe. And we want to know is same type. So let's do import is same type. And we want to see if it's the same type of a state. So we'll do crocks, predicates, and is same type. And here we want to check to see if it's a state. All right, so now the mapping function that we want to do is, let's see here. So we'll lift it into a maybe. We'll do safe is same type of state. So now what this is going to do is if it's a state, it's going to give us back a maybe, which if it's the first maybe, it will just return that first one no matter how many other states it gets back. But if it never runs into that, then it will just be a nothing that we could then option out with just a state, right? So then we can just do option. So if we never run, if none of these return, if we don't have an action that can be handled, all we'll do is return a state of, and we'll just make this null because it doesn't matter. Or we could do state of action. Okay, but that's the thing is we need this action, right? So this is going to return, see how we're going to return a function? We need to return a function that's going to take an action. So let's go here and we'll do action. Okay, so now we have our action. And we need to apply the action. So the thing is, while we're over here, we have an action, but we don't have any functions to apply it to, right? Right? So what we need to do is before we actually lift, we need to safe lift okay. So why do we need to do this? So we need to see if it's the same type of state. So we can say safe state. So we'll do const safe state. And then we'll have this take a function, right? So this can take a function. All right, let's see here. What's the best way to do this? All right, so what we want to do is we want to take the action that we have, and then we want to, as we're doing this, apply that action to a function. So I think we can do... Here, let's close this down real quick so we have some room. Oops. All right. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. So let's do const. And we'll just call this fn for now. And I think we can just do this. Safe lift. Okay. And this will take an action. Okay. And this will be apply to. Action. Okay, so what this is going to do, let's see if this actually works though. I don't even know if this is going to work. And then this will be reducers. Okay, so now we want to do const reducers is equal to combine reducers. And we'll do combine reducers of, goodness gracious, what should we do? Combine reducers, that'll take the reducers, then take the action. So here we want to do. All right, and here we'll do import to do from, and we'll do to do. And we need to bring apply to in. So this is apply to, and we'll and that's just the T combinator, right? Like combinator. It's the thrush. It's basically you give it a argument, and then it will apply that argument to the next given function. So it flips it. It's basically what how they have AP set up on Fantasyland. It does kind of that. All right, so now we have our apply to, and this is going to take that action. I think this will work. So let's talk this through. Talk is cheap. Let's see what this does. All right, so we have our index. That'll bring that in. That'll bring that in. So now that we have this index, and that is our data, isn't there a way to set up... All right, so we need to bring in, I always forget how to set this part up. Standby, so not connect, but combine reducers. So that takes reducers index, which will then take those. And here we bring this in, goodness gracious. Where's the index dot? I think that's the first page, right? Yep. So we need to do create store first of all. Okay. So let's bring in create store. Oops. And we'll bring that in from Redux. All right. So we have that. What else do we need? We need the provider so we can connect stuff up. But let's not worry about that right now. So now we'll do create store. There's our data. We'll just call that data. And here we'll do const store. We'll just set it up the way they have it. Nothing, no big whoop, no big deal. And then we'll do store. And store is create store with, we need reducer. So that comes in here, import reducer from, and we will do data reducers. Is that reducers? Yep. And that will bring in reducer. Okay, and here we'll pass in data or ghost. All right, so we do that, and we need to bring in provider. Okay, provider, and I think that comes from Redux, right? Yep. Oh, they put it above there too. How cute is that? Okay, so now what do they do? All right, so they do provider, and we'll do store. So boring, all of this part. I just want to get to the fun stuff, you know? But hey, this is fine, I guess. Okay, so it just does that, a little bit of that, and then we'll do some of this. And goodness gracious. Okay, yeah, let's do that. That looks much better. And then we'll do some of this with a whole bunch of that. Oops, oops, oops. Hit the right button, Ian. Goodness gracious. Okay, let's see how many errors we have. Oh, goodness gracious. Can't resolve Redux because that is the stupidest name. React Redux. How embarrassing was that? Okay, so now we do this. We're having a problem with reducers. Index.jsx or JS. So we have data reducers. Oh, wait, where are we? Oh, no, that should work. What's going on there? Index? What happens if I do that? Huh. Can't resolve apply to combinators. Oh, it worked. It worked just fine. Right? Yeah. Sorry about that. This needs to be combinators. Okay. So now we need an action creator. All right. It looks like we have that. Looks like all of that's good. So now we need to set up on our to-do. It would be nice. So on to-do list, this is what will make our actual. All right. So here we will do import. Oops. Here we'll, oh, goodness gracious. All right. Here we'll do import connect, and we're going to connect from Redux. Okay. And here we will do connect and some of this. Oops. Oh, goodness gracious, you did it again. Okay. For real? All right. So now that we have that connect, what we need to do is map this to-dos there, because that's where we're going to get our to-dos from. We'll be getting our to-dos from here, not from here anymore. So we need to get rid of this so we can accurately see that we are actually getting our business. Okay, so we should be, I don't know, pretty broken right now. I'd expect to be broken, or at least nothing coming through, you know, because we're not mapping anything. Okay, first two, default of is not a function. All right, we need to see what's going on there. Well, that's great. Okay, so that's here. State. Oh, goodness gracious. How embarrassing is that? Okay, so here let's go to state. Boom. And nope, not there. Not there at all. It's going to be here, maybe? And state needs to be state, not first. Okay, so now we shouldn't get any errors. Execute with is not a function, so we need to see why that is. All right, so that should have went through. So let's see, we have reducers, then has action. And this does the concat map. So let's do some of this. Okay. And then here we'll just do a const log is equal to tap. And we will tap on console. Okay. And we'll do label. No, we'll just do tap. And we will do, no, that's fine. All right, label. And here we'll tap console.log. Dot bind console. And here we will just do label, I guess. Okay, and here let's do a oh wait, I bet I know what the problem is. I didn't even need to set all that up. I will make one of those though. Okay, so all right. So that gives us the combine reducers. That puts to do in there. Huh. And then we want to check to see. Oh, you know what it is? It can't be safe lift. Goodness gracious. All right, hold on. Because that gets the input. So sorry about that. So we need to do safe is type, and we need to do a compose. My bad. So sorry about this. And we'll call this as run reducer. Okay. And compose. And what do we want to compose? We want to actually put this safe at the end here. Oops. How embarrassing is that? And for that, we want to put this in. All right. All right. So the first thing we want to do is apply that to the action. That's going to be the actual reducer, right? We need to bring in compose. Okay. All right. So what is going on with this? Why would you expect an indentation of 4 spaces? That makes no sense. All right. Oh, that's why. I see why. Okay. All right, so now this needs to be run reducer. Okay. And then this should option with a state of, oh, goodness gracious. Still didn't come through. Okay, so we're going to do our mconcat map. We're going to take our reducers. So before we run each of this, the first is going to be brought on, like thrown in there, right? And then from there, we need to be able to option it. So we option that out. Oh, I know the problem. Goodness gracious. We need to do this and actually pass the action in to be applied. Okay, so this is all right. The prop to do's is marked as required, but its value is undefined. Cannot read property map of undefined. And that's because we need to have what I like to call a map to whatchamahoo's it, right? Okay, so here we need to actually set something up. So let's do our const map state. And that's going to be to-dos. And from there, we will map out to-dos, right? Is that how this thing's supposed to do? Oh. Oh, you did that wrong, buddy. All right, so then that should go there. Is that how this is supposed to be? Then you do map state, right? Oh, let's see if this actually works. Oh, it does. Perfect. Okay, so now we got everything working. So we are hitting our little challenge there. Everything's going great. We have our map props to state. Whoa, that's ugly as sin. This should actually probably be down here anyway, away from all of this. Okay, so now we have that. We need to get the completed in there. So that is a to-do, which does a to-do. Okay, so we need an on-click handler, which means we need to bring in our dispatch method. So let's do const map dispatch. Right? How does that work? I forgot how this, see, I don't do, you set this up a couple times. Map dispatch to props. So then that comes in with and adds that into there, which would be the to-do list. All right, yeah, so we should probably move this out eventually. We don't need to do it right now, but eventually we should move it out. So here we're going to do a, goodness gracious, that just takes a dispatch, right? All right, so that is a dispatch. Let me turn on some fancy lights on my board. All right, so here we do our dispatch, and what's that, an object that we return? It sure is. All right. Okay, and we will call this toggle to do. And this is just going to be an ID that takes that and returns, oh, we need an ID for this. All right, so for now, it's just going to be a title. It's all right, title. We'll fix this when we get the ID in there. All right, and that's going to be dispatch. And it will be toggle to do, and we will do title. Okay, so now we have that. We need to bring in toggle to do. So here we'll do import and toggle to do from, and we'll do data reducers to do. Yep. And that should do it. So then we do map dispatch here. Okay. So now that should add a toggle to do. And here we do toggle to do. And here we do on click equals toggle to do. Okay, and then that will call it with the title that we will set up. All right. Aw, goodness gracious. Okay, can't resolve reducers to do. Data reducers, that's because that should be that, right? Because it's a component. Beautiful. Okay, so now we should have that coming on that on click. Right, so now this will take care of that for us. Now we just jump into, let's see, reducers. We'll go to do. All right, so we're going to make just a model here, just something that will return. Actually, no, this is fine. This is fine. All right, so that will take the index, that will take the payload and push the payload down inside of it. So here we're just going to make just a quick state transition, right? So what we need to do is we're going to get in this payload. So we're just going to call this handle. We'll be moving all of this stuff into its own model, right? So we need to pull, first of all, these to-dos off of here. So let's do one of these. Again, we'll move all of this into a kind of a models section, but we'll just keep it in here for now, right? So what we want to do is do a const. And what const do we want to do? We want to do a get. And we'll do that from no. And we'll grab that off of state. Okay. All right. Because we need to, even though we're pulling these in and running them and doing things like that, we still need to actually get the, how would you say, we need to get the namespace of to-dos off of this. And we're going to write all of these models to work on the to-do things. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. So we'll do compose and let's do a prop and we'll do to-dos. Okay. And then let's do a safe. All right. And with this safe, do we want to do a safe? Yeah, we want to do a safe. We'll do isArray. Okay. And then we want to do, all right, so let's make a function here, or we'll make it inside of helpers. Where's that helpers? There's helpers. All right, so let's make a function in here and we'll call it prop array. Okay, so we'll do const or export const, and we'll just call it prop array. And this will take in or ask for a key and then give us back a compose chain. All right. So the last thing we want to do is we want to take this prop. Okay. And we'll take the prop of the key. And after we do that, we want to chain in a safe isArray. So we want to guarantee that this is array, otherwise we do a nothing. Okay. And then we will, what's another thing we're going to do? So we need that, and then the next thing we want to do is just option this to an array. Okay, so every time that this gets called, we need to, well, first we need to bring these things in. So we will do import, let's see here, chain is first from crocks, point free, chain. And what comes after that is array, and that comes from predicates and is array. Okay, so we have that is array. Now we need options, so let's do option. Oops. Option, what time is it? Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, only got about another half hour left. And this will be crocks point free, and we'll do option here. Okay. And we have chain, we have that, we have that. We need import prop from crocks. And this will be, hey, Zach Jones, sorry I missed you a second ago. or a while ago it might have been. Goodness gracious. We'll do crocks maybe, and then we'll do prop, and then we just need to do safe. So we'll do safe from here, and of course we always need compose. So we'll bring compose in from helpers, and that is compose. Beautiful. Okay, so now we have this prop array that we can bring in. And now we'll just do D2 this and do that a lot. And we'll do prop array. Okay. And this will guarantee that it will check an object to see if it has this prop. We're going to say to do's. And if it's an array, it'll return an array. So now we do prop array. Okay. And prop array comes in. Oops. We want this to be import prop array from helpers. Okay. So now we have handle in there. And what this is going to do is we need to have an actual action here, right? Well, I guess we don't need the action. We need the actual payload here. So this payload is going to be title, right? Because over here, when we call it, we are putting title as the thing that we're sending. So we need to take the title off of it. And now that we have this array and we have it in there, let's just do a map. And then we will map the array. So we have an array of to-dos. So we need to map over, and for this to do, what do we want to do? We want to do map. Okay. So let's bring map in, import map from crocks, point free map, okay. So we want to map in whenever it's the title. Ooh, okay, so let's make an update helper, okay. So we'll have a little thing here that actually updates the helper, or updates a record when that record equals something, okay? So we'll say export, or no, yeah, export const update record, okay? So what this needs to do is take in an ID, and it needs to have the actual update of the thing that we want to update, right? So to do this, we need to check the actual record that we have and make sure that it equals something, right? So we'll do when equals, but it needs to be a, so let's do a prop or, so equals ID. Let's do compose. Okay, and then here we'll just do a prop or, no need in getting it into maybe and all that. We'll do a prop or, and this will be the array or ID. Okay, so when that happens, whenever we get back an ID that equals that, we'll make this a string, so we'll make this an empty string because we don't really want that. We don't have an ID. We have a title. So right now we're just referencing things by title. Okay. All right. All right, so we need to bring equals in. So let's see here. This is getting a little out of hand, but whatever, right? Whatever. So whenever this happens, we want to then map props. So let's make a function. Same title is equal to compose equals Okay, equals title, and we'll do prop or title. And it's a string, so we'll just guarantee the string there, prop or title. Okay. All right. So now we have our equals, we have our compose, we have all of that. So here, whenever it's the same title, okay, same title, and that'll be the title. Then we want to map props, update. Okay. And this will map any changes that depend on there and all that. So let's get equals on there. We'll do import equals from crocks, point free equals. What else do we have? Prop or. Okay, and that comes from helpers and prop or. And we need when, of course. Okay, so now we do when from logic, and that is when. And let's go here and enter one of these spaces. Okay, what else do we have? Map props, and map props is like evolve, I guess. Map props, evolve from, oops, goodness gracious. So it's just like map props from Ramda. Okay, map props. Okay, so now this will come in, and if it's the same title, all right, so if it's the same title, what we're going to do, if the title matches that, is we'll then apply an update, right? So while we map over each one of these, we want to call update record, and we want to pass in the title. And the other thing we want to pass in is completed. And we want completed to be negated. All right, so here let's do a export negate or const negate, which is equal to, let's see here, an x, and we just do not x, and that negates it. Let's add some types to these. So we'll take an A to a Boolean, prop type. Okay, so, or prop array. That takes a string. It takes more than a string, but we're just going to say a string. Then it takes an object and then gives you back an array. So that guarantees us an array, even if it's empty. All right, same title. Same title takes a string because that's what a title is. We could put title, but whatever. And then that takes some object or a record, and then gives back a string. So that pretty much guarantees. Oh, I'm sorry, it doesn't. It gives back a Boolean. So that becomes our Boolean. And then we have update record. And update record takes a tuple string and a object, which is defines your update that you're going to map. And from there, it gives you back takes an object and gives you back another object. We'll fill this out with like record and things like that, like what these really are, but we don't really have good names for them yet. Okay, so that takes all of that. Now we need to go up here and we need to bring this stuff in. All right, So we have all kinds of problems going on here. And this needs to be that. We need to bring in update record. So that will come in here, update record. And we need to bring in negate. All right. Okay, so this stuff just comes in from helpers. Now, this is really gross, but we will get these in their own model files. I just wanted to hook up and make sure things were working out the way we expected them to. Okay, so now we have that handle. We do all that. So here we can just do handle payload. And that should get us in there. So that gets us our title. That gets us that. Oh, but we need to actually commit this back, right? So let's make a commit. Okay, so now that we have this, we need to take what it is and we need to commit it back into the state. Okay, we're going to have this get, which we'll call get, right? So we can always just have this, the proper array thing. So let's, but we also need to, after we do this change, we can call this, you know, something else, something that maps over that. We can put that in another function called, you know, toggle completed or something like that. Who knows what we'll call it? We can call it all kinds of things. So here we'll take our commit, and what our commit needs to do is commit the stuff back in. So here we just need an ASOC really. So we'll do an ASOC. And what do we want to do with this ASOC? This is associate, right? So we want to do to-dos, and we know that it's an array. So that'll get the value in there. So that will be the value that's coming back from that. And then that'll be a function. All right, so that's not going to work. Because what we're going to do, we want to chain this in. So we want to do chain commit. And this will actually chain in the commit. But what we're going to get back, like the thing that we need as a function, is going to be the data, right? So eventually we're going to get our state back in there. So we need to modify. So what this needs to be is a modify, right? So this needs to return back a chain. So here we just do, let's see here. So this will be our data, right? Okay, or our state coming in, we'll call it to-dos, right? Why not? We'll just call it X. And we want this to be modify because we want to modify it. And then we will ASOC to-dos with X, right? Okay, so since we don't need to do any of that, let's see if we can do this with a compose and get rid of this X, right? So the last thing we want to do is return a modify, and then that modify will be an ASOC because that takes a, and this will be to-dos, right? Okay. And that's it. All right. So this needs to be modify. Okay. And this needs to be, what did I bring in? Goodness gracious. This gets ridiculous sometimes. ASOC. All right, so I need a sock here to do association, and that comes in from helpers and a sock. So what that does, oh, we need compose in here too. Goodness gracious. Again, most of this will be in its own file outside of this reducer. The reducer is just going to be real simple, but we'll have a model file or something like that. What time is it? Oh, goodness gracious, got about 12 minutes. So let's get this working in 12 minutes. Okay, so what we do with our commit. So the first thing we do, and let's create this called const, and goodness gracious, what should we call it? So we'll call this toggle, right? Because this will actually be inside of the model itself. So we'll call that toggle, and then here we'll call toggle with payload. Okay, and that'll be something inside of there. And here we'll say flip complete. Okay. And that really just needs to take the title. So that will be title. And this will be map update record title and completed. Negate. Okay. And here we can just get rid of this and all of that and just do flip complete and partially apply our title. Okay. So now we've defined all of our state and all of that. We're doing all kinds of weird stuff, I guess. Okay, so what we need to do now is toggle to do. Man, I'm going to be so shocked if this actually works. All right. That's probably going to error like a folio. So here we're going to do our on click. Okay. And what should we do here? Just for now, we'll just do this on click. I think that's wrong. Pretty sure that's wrong. Yep. All right. What am I doing wrong? Okay, so there's my on click. There's that. Let's go to to-do list. Okay. Man, that would have been better. That's fine. All right, so that takes the title. That takes that. Oh, huh. So it is making it through to there. So let's see what happens in the reducer itself. We'll deal, let's just deal with this right now. All right, so we'll do toggle to do and toggle to do, and this is a func. We'll probably set up a no op. Okay. All right, so that should clear up that error. And here we need an on click that does the same thing. So on click is a prop type and function. All right. Oh, goodness gracious. Where are we at? All right, I got 8 minutes or 6 minutes to get this working. Okay, so we got that, we got that. All of those are coming through. So now we need to make sure that it is actually dispatching through our reducer. All right, so let's jump into here. And let's see what we have going on here. Okay, so here we have our map. We have our commit. So we have our flip complete, and that should update the record for each one. Bringing that in and calling negate, right? So negate gets called into there, and that should be handling all of that for us. All right, but it doesn't look like it is. And I wish it would. That would be really cool if it was actually doing that for us. Okay, so let's see where our problem is. So here, let's just make a log function, and we'll do const log is equal to x, and we will do console.log x, and here we'll do x, and just do some of this. All right, so now let's just do log in here and see what we're getting back. All right, are we even making it to there? Oh, we sure are, and we're getting a function back. So that's cool. That's what we want, right? Like we want to send a function to modify, but we want to make sure that we're sending the right function. And it should be, because that's going to be what takes our state. So I think we're good there. Okay, so let's do a map here and see what we actually get back from our flip complete, because maybe it's something to do before that, right? So let's look at our log, and then we come back here, give this a little clickety-doo-dah, and see we've clicked mess with Texas, but it didn't mark it as completed. Ah, you know why it didn't mark it as completed? Because completed was never set as true or false. Like it wasn't set there, it was undefined. So I don't think that that's going to work for us. So that is not going to work. All right, so for now, just to get that to work, we're going to do this a little better, but for now, this is requiring, if y'all didn't see it, oops, this is requiring our data, our initial loading data, to have completed with something in it. It needs the key to exist. Let's just see if this works up until that point, and take it from there. And here we'll say false. You know what? I should have clicked on the other one, because it should have shut the other one off, the do laundry. Oh, and there it goes. Cool. So now it works. Sweet. Okay, let's add a little something to this. It kind of makes me sad. So let's go into our less, and we will go into components, and we'll go into to do, and we will do cursor, and we will do pointer, and give that what I like to call a save. All right, now we have our pointer, and these actually trigger now. Pretty crazy, huh? So let's see, let's wrap up here, and we'll just kind of go over what we did, because we really did a lot of stuff. Pretty crazy, the stuff that we did. And you know what? As we talk about what we're doing, let's go ahead and we're going to make a models, and we're going to make a to-do.js inside of models. Right? Okay. So here what we'll do is we don't need any of that. We don't need any of that. Let's just move all the stuff that's pure and has to do with state manipulation on here, right? So first of all, we have this. Well, we need to get state in there for sure, right? Because we know state needs to be there, and we know we're going to need the get and modify stuff. Bow show, like we need that stuff. Okay, the next thing that we need to do, what is, hey James, long time no talk to. Hey, how's my audio? I don't know about this microphone anymore. It kind of has me a little worried. So now that I have this get and we have, you know, all of this, it would be nice, since we're going to always have to pull off of this namespace, let's create something called const pull, pull, I guess. And that will be get. So this should be a function. It would be great if we had another function after that, right? So what we could do, what could we do here? So let's do a get, and then we'll do a compose, right? So we'll say pull to-dos, or we'll say map to-dos. Yeah, we'll call this map to-dos, and we'll do a compose here. That, what should this compose do? It should be something fancy, right? Compose, and we'll say that's from crocks, helpers, compose. Okay. What do we want to do with this? So what we want to do is do our prop array, right? So we'll still need to get that. So we'll do import, and here we'll do prop array. Pretty much we need all of this, right? All of this will be inside of here, not inside of the other things. Okay, so here we want to do the prop array, or yeah, okay. Prop array, and this is going to be to-dos. And then we want to take our function, so we'll say map function. Okay. And then we want to apply our map function to that. Okay. So now let's call this, yeah, we'll just call that map to-dos. Okay. So now let's do an export default, or an export const toggle. I like that. Toggle. And then we do toggle. What does toggle do after that? Tickety toggle will pretty much do all of this. Title. And instead of doing the get, we're going to say map to-dos, right? And then we're going to pass in flip complete. Okay? So now we'll take this flip complete. Okay? And these are all things that work on just normal map from point free. And we'll take map. All right. So here we'll now do flip complete, and then we do .chain commit. All right, so let's bring commit in, and commit is going to take that. We need ASOC. So let's get ASOC here. Okay, we got ASOC. We don't need compose anymore. Why do we still need map? Map is because of flip complete, which we already have out. So now we have that. We have toggle. We don't need any of this toggle anymore, right? So what did flip complete do before? Flip complete takes the title. Really takes the cake. Okay, so now we just have this toggle. And now we just need to bring this in. So inside of our reducer, we don't have anything to do with state. We don't have anything to do with map. We don't have anything to do with any of these. The only thing we have in our reducer is what hooks up our actions to it, right? So we have our actions here, and then we have our reducer function, which handles those actions, if that makes sense, right? So now what we need to do is bring in our tickety toggle. So let's do a... and this needs to be up here, import, and we'll do toggle from, and we'll do models, dot to do, or tofu, one of the two. And now we have our toggle and everything just works out beautifully. Okay, and cool. So let's just make sure this still works. We'll give this what I like to call a reload. I click it and it marks. Okay, so now all we need to do, we already have most of the helpers built out. So we have everything we need to work on to do. So next time what we're going to do is we're going to get our ID set up, because we really don't want to go off the index. We're keying off the index, and that is just disgusting. So we don't want to do that. So next time, we will create an index or an ID. Now, one of the things you'll notice on their example, ID, so their example uses some state. Next ID, I believe. Next ID. Next to do ID, see how they have this like closure state and they're putting the state inside of this action creator and it's still keeping that state? Well, there's nothing we can do with that state. But because of what we're doing, we can actually keep that state inside of our normal React state. And because we're not using the combined reducers that it comes with, we have access to all the state. See, we need to pull off what we need, but as we put stuff into this model, we can just bring in another model that's like, say, get the next ID, and then it pulls it off of the state. You'll see the benefit of that later on because it allows for easier testing, things like that. But you'll notice that the reducer here, if you look at a normal React reducer, it usually has two things here. It has the state, and it's going to lift stuff into that cool little to-do namespace or whatever the namespace is. It's going to lift it right into that. And we don't really want that, right? Like, we want to put together all these stateful transitions and kind of build it out this way to where we capture, oops, goodness gracious. What are you even doing there, buddy boy? We'll do that. This should be that. There we go. Okay. We want to get the state. We want to build out all these transactions. So here we're pulling the state, we're running this function over it, and then we're running this commit function, which is going to take the result of this mapping, and then it's going to update the state. So when we go to pull the next one, we're going to call a function that'll go and pull the next value, return that on the resultant, but then also increment it. But this has no idea about incrementing. The only thing it knows is it asks for an ID, but they both get to work on the state. And that's the benefit of shared mutable state. Yeah, and how we got this, if we look here, if we look at our actual reducers, this is our root reducer. And to be honest, this stuff here, we can actually move this into our helpers. So let's do that real quick. All right, so we have combine reducers. So we want to take that out, right? And C comes before here. All right, so there's prop array. This is P. So we want to put P above this, but same title needs to be with its partner here, right? All right, so same title is there. We have combined reducers that needs nconcat map, So we'll bring that over. And that goes here. What else does it need? It needs first. So we'll bring first over. Let's see, what else does it need? It needs run reducer. So let's grab run reducer here. All right. Boom, boom, boom. And run reducer, this is actually what gets exported. So we'll do our export const. And then run reducer, of course, is internal to here. So we don't need to worry about that. Okay. So now we take our state and we move that over. All right. Now we have our run reducer. We have all of that. We need is same type. That needs to come over, of course. And notice how we're putting all of our references to our ADTs and things like that inside of our helper functions. See how as we're refactoring it, it just seems to fall into place here? That's great because it keeps all of our dependencies on our helpers inside of like one place, right? So, I mean, we could use things from Ramda in here. We could use stuff, but if we only reference helpers through here, then it gives us a kind of control on how we deal with our dependencies. All right, so we need apply to. Looks like we have safe. Looks like we have everything. There's nothing there. So let's see here. Here we have 3 errors. We don't need compose, don't need safe, but we need to bring in combine reducers, right? And that's a helper. So let's do import combine reducers, and we'll bring that in from helpers. Okay, so now we have our reducers, we have all of that. Hopefully there's no errors. We jump here. Of course there's an error. Why wouldn't there be an error? All right, so export const combine reducers. Combine reducers. Oh, there we go. Just need to save stuff. Okay, so we got everything back. And notice all of the stuff here is just helpers. We don't have any of the things. And just by mimicking this pattern, this is all we had to do to make sure that we would get the benefit of the combine reducers that Redux ships with. We just build out this quick flow, which reads like, hey, run the reducer. The first thing that we get back that is a state, go ahead and use that. Otherwise, if everything's said and done and nobody handles it, just return a state, right? And then that's what we return with here. So as we put the action in, it runs it and then returns the first state that comes back from that. And then we just call execute with and pass in the previous state. And that's it. So that is our root reducer with some cool little, I don't want to really call it middleware, but it controls, it just shows you how much control you have over your root reducer. And we just pass this in just like we do with anything else. And now we can use this State ADT, and we never really need to think about this again. Like we can close these files out, and it's just going to always work for us the way that everything's kind of set up. So I hope this was informative. Go ahead and watch this a few times. If you got any questions, throw them in there. I went through this very, very quick just because I want to get through kind of this boring stuff, this setup, and just show you how easy it is to, like, once you have a few helper functions in place, it's really just a matter of saying, do this, grab this, commit this in. And bam, we can now have complete control over our entire application and not worry about like the size or shape of our state object. The overall size and shape. So anyway, that's all I got for tonight. Thank you guys so much. I will be on next Tuesday at 6:30. Guys and gals, sorry. Now that's all I got. Thanks for hanging out. Talk to you later.